After Bruce Gyngell welcomed Australia to the box in 1956, there was a whole wave of trailblazers who turned television from a novelty to an integral part of our lives. And what's more, they lived to tell the tale.
This is Mr. Jim Hannan of Darlinghurst, who last week successfully answered all 7 songs correctly. Name!
That same year, Bruce Gyngell also introduced us to a young contestant on Name That Tune. Beginning his TV career in style, Jimmy Hannan named an impressive 50 tunes in a row. But all these years later, this golden boy has quite a revelation.
Sometimes I must confess I did sneak up during rehearsals while Gus Mersey Trio were playing, and I'd think, I wonder if they're going to be my songs tonight. So I'd listen to the rehearsals. They didn't know. This is outside the fence of the church hall.
Suddenly There's a Valley. Suddenly There's a Valley is right.
I didn't do it all the time, mind you.
It wasn't long before this contestant turned compere. By the 70s, he was our undisputed wizard of quiz.
I was never out of the studio. I think that's when I first started to get worried about my longevity in television. I thought, oh, God, you know, I'm going to die in a studio very shortly. And I thought, I've got to start to cut back.
The rainforests of northern New South Wales are about as far from the bright lights of television as you can get, which suits Jimmy and wife Joanne just fine.
So it was good then to come up to this area and retire nicely, play the golf, do some clearing of land and do a whole different scope of things. I'm happy here in my little paradise.
New Year's Eve edition of Revue 61.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Revue 61, episode 52.
I think what the program did that was a real contribution is that it gave young Australian artists and singers and dancers and writers an opportunity to compete and really feel their oats, you know.
Here they are, the Revue 20.
1961 was a landmark year for Digby Wolfe. It was the year he left nightclub performing for TV stardom with his variety show, Revue.
Why don't you sing? 1, 2, 3.
No! You know, it was a fairly short-lived show. People think it ran longer than it did. It was just that one year, 1961, when it really peaked.
Cole Joy, this is your life.
After hosting This Is Your Life in the 70s, Digby disappeared from our screens and never came back. But his life often took sharp turns.
I've had the kind of life that's lurched from one extreme to the other. It's either been wonderful or not so wonderful, and I've either been completely unemployable or doing better than probably I deserve.
Digby's Revue 96 is looking very different. Living in Albuquerque and teaching writing at the University of New Mexico. He's grown his hair and got himself a job.
They just made me a full professor here, so I can stay here as long as I like. And it's the amazing thing about that is that it's the first really steady job I've had in my entire life.
Goodbye, mate.
TV was all live in the early days, and being out there without a safety net was the kind of danger that Mobil-Limb loved.
The beautiful thing was we always had a studio audience, so we were able to share that, the mistakes with the audience, and by doing that, we got big laughs that way.
3 years before television, Bobby took the hand of a young singer called Dawn Lake. That union was to make them one of our most famous TV couples.
And that's because he's the boss and gets the final say. 20 years together now.
They've had their hitches, but Dawn and Bobby are still hitched after 43 years. However, they stopped performing as a team 4 years ago.
Dawn is a retired lady. She said, 45 years now, I was at it. She said, oh, I've got the hang of it now. But I keep going because I'm the ham of the family, you know, and I don't know. I gotta go with my boots on, I guess.
Now Bobby's taking the show on the road. Well, on the water, anyway.
Okay, well, have a good show. We started on the showboats, and now the showboats are very, very big. I'm very proud of them. We have 28,000 people come on board the boats per month, and it's wonderful. It's great.
Yeah, keep flowing, Bobby. You know, as childhood memories are the sweetest, here's something for all of you who were kids when TV began.
That's it, Amanda, that's it.
That's the feeling I like, eh?
I'd always hated kid shows where the fellow says, hello, boys and girls. You know what I mean? It really craps me off, that sort of approach. So I didn't want to call them boys and girls. I gave them a generic name, Ninepins. And kids came to me in the street in those days and said, oh, Desmond, I'm a ninepin.
Desmond Tester's attitude to children's TV in the 50s was a winner, and so was his show. The Channel 9 Pins was the lead-in for the popular Mickey Mouse Club.
The Bee Gees.
The program was a nursery for young talent. The Bee Gees cut their milk teeth on Desmond's show. Today, this king of the kids is quite an adventurer. He's driven cattle along the Queensland stock routes, learned to sail, and recently rode a Vespa bike around Tuscany. What could be next?
Oh, I know what I want to do. Jump out in a parachute.
Hey, happy landings, Desmond. Now, the biggest news of September 16th, 1956 was the start of TV in this country. But for Chuck Faulkner, he made headlines as the first man behind the news desk, an honor that he was tricked into by news chief Michael Ramsden.
He said, wearing your grey dinner jacket, the blue shirt, and also the black bow tie. And he said, we'll have a full dress rehearsal, commercials, if you make a mistake, keep going, don't stop, so on. So I finished the news and weather a la rehearsal, and as I did, all the clapping. I said, what's going on? Congratulations, Chuck, you're the first person ever in Australia to do a live television show. That's it. I nearly died.
From being a pioneer of television, Chuck's career became embroiled in controversy over Channel 10's payroll robbery in 1966. The suspect was a young runaway that Chuck had earlier taken under his wing. He lived at Chuck's house and had easy access to Channel 10, where Chuck was working at the time.
He got with some kid, or was another kid, and the both of them held up Channel 10. I didn't even know about it. When he was caught up in Queensland, they said to him, they said, did you commit the robbery? He said, yes, but old Chuck Faulkner told me to do it. Oh, I tell you, that you suffer. It took me, I would think, 10 years to get over it.
This will adversely affect your career, Chuck.
I don't know what to think of that.
What are your plans now,
nothing. I'm just going to have a rest of it.
Although he was cleared of any involvement, the affair led to a nervous breakdown. But Chuck's a survivor and returned to TV in Division 4.
But who's the kingpin? None of them would have the mouse to organize those robberies.
Chuck lives in Virginia Beach in the United States with his wife, Julie. Up until 2 years ago, he was working in local radio. It wasn't bad ratings that took him off air, but a stroke and 5 heart bypasses.
I would like to think, God willing, that maybe in 1997, I'm still here. In fact, let me say this. I hope if TCN has their 50th anniversary, I'll come out to Australia and see you.
And hopefully so will we, Chuck. And hopefully so will you out there.